Recently, I'm pretty obsessed with the Bumblebee movie. It's really good and I really liked all of the 80s references in that movie because I'm kind of obsessed with the 80s too. So I wanted to make a video about Bumblebee and all of its 80s references. This video is going to be filled with spoilers, so if you haven't watched the movie, go watch the movie first, then come back later. Let's talk about what I think about the Transformers movie series first. I think they sucked. Some people say that the first Transformers movie is actually okay, but I think it still sucks. I think it's not as bad as like the second movie, but it still sucks. And I only watched 3 Transformers movies. I didn't watch 4 and 5. I only watched 1, 2 and the third one, whatever it's called, Butthole of the Moon. Yeah, I watched all 3 of those and I thought they were just visual effects, all in your face, very loud and full of fake action sequences and full of product placement. And they're all directed by the same guy. They're all directed by Michael Bay. He's infamous for directing the Transformers series. And now Travis Knight injected new life into this movie. When a movie series changes director and it suddenly becomes really good, then you see where the problem is at. Travis Knight injects a lot of heart into this movie that wasn't in any of the previous films. The previous films had no relation to the humans at all. It's all about the machines, but the humans keep on interrupting the machines' fights with their weird sex appeal thing. Like Megan Fox suddenly comes out for no reason other than to market the film as being a very sexy film, to attract all the boys in a school to go watch that movie. Bumblebee has none of that. This is a very human movie, and even Bumblebee itself, or himself, feels very alive in this movie. Doesn't feel like a machine. Bumblebee actually feels like a living entity, which is how it's supposed to be. And I'm not going to mention the Transformers cartoon series because I want to make that in a separate video where I talk about that and G.I. Joe and He-Man. So I'm not going to talk about that. Christina Hobson is the writer for this movie. She also written Birds of Prey, and I think she's a fantastic writer. But Birds of Prey admittedly is a very poor script, but every writer has like a misstep every once in a while. So I just hope that Christina Hobson's next movie after Birds of Prey is going to be good. This movie has plenty of references to the Smiths, by the way. There's a point where Charlie actually holds up the Strange Ways Here We Come album in front of the camera, and then she plays Girlfriend in a Coma, and then the Big Mouth Strikes Again plays at somewhere in the beginning in the movie, and then there's a very touching moment in this movie when Bumblebee is going to fight the bad guys, and then he plays the Smiths song to Charlie again. But in the beginning, Bumblebee actually didn't like the Smiths' music, which further proves that the Smiths really is emo crap, because only emo people who are about to fight to their death can appreciate this emo stuff. Nah, just kidding. Everybody likes the Smiths. I have no idea why Bumblebee doesn't like the Smiths. It's kind of beyond me, but I think that maybe he just hasn't had any tragedy in his life yet to understand Johnny Marr and Morrissey. Then there's a lot of references in Charlie's shirt as well. There's Damned, there's the Rolling Stones. Yeah, I think that's it. There's Damned, then there's the Rolling Stones. Then there's a lot of music tapes at that scene where she takes out the Smiths album. There's a lot of other albums and I think compilation mixtapes there as well. Talking Heads, INXS, Joe and Jet and the Blackhearts, and the Rolling Stones. There's a lot of albums there. And you can also see a lot of posters in Charlie's room, posters of the Pretenders. There's so many references in this movie. When it comes to movie references, there's a really cool Breakfast Club reference in this movie. That's more than a reference, it's actually an integral part of the story. And I like how this movie inserts footage of the Breakfast Club and uses it to great effect, unlike another movie, EDA, which just inserts the Breakfast Club footage for no other reason than just, you know, to pay tribute, I guess. But this movie really uses the Breakfast Club very well. It's weird to say the sentence, but it does. Also, there's a visual reference, very brief one, but still, the Big Chill, which is like an adult version of the Breakfast Club. So it totally makes sense that the videotape of the Big Chill is just right beside the Breakfast Club in that scene. It's nice to see a movie have the Smiths and their music that's not 500 Days of Summer, because to my memory, the only movie that actually promotes the Smiths is 500 Days of Summer, which I've seen like 100 times. So it's nice to see Bumblebee also does that. And Christina Hobson herself is also a huge Smiths fan. Okay, let's talk about Haley Steinfeld. She's the main character in this movie, and I kind of overlooked her because I was talking about all of those 80s references. So let's talk about Haley Steinfeld. She's an amazing singer, but I think she's much more of an actor to me than a singer, because I've seen her in so many movies, but she hasn't released an album yet. That's why I still haven't really connected to that singer side of her. But she has released an EP, which I have never heard before. I'm sorry. Anyway, she is amazing. In the Age of 17, that's an amazing movie as well. It's also a teen movie. Let's talk about all the songs in the movie, because this movie is filled with so many songs. I don't even know where to start. So let's start with the one that I don't really like. I have no idea why it's there, and that's Save a Prayer by Duran Duran. I just don't know why that song is played at a very particular moment. It seems like it comes out of nowhere, but it's okay, it's not distracting or anything. It's just that, well, it could be replaced with any other new wave song to the same effect, and if it's that case, I don't really know why they chose Duran Duran. Maybe they are huge fans of Duran Duran though, but I'm not really that big of a fan of Duran Duran. I think that Rio is just an average album, but I don't think it's bad. I just think it's like average at best. But there's another very good new wave song in this for all those new wave fans out there. Tears for Fears, one of my favorite new wave bands. Everybody wants to rule the world in that scene where the car drives on that road and that song plays. The bouncy music of that song gives that scene a very good comedic effect, because that scene is supposed to be funny. And then there's this part in the movie where the car actually plays "You Got the Touch," because that's the song from the Transformers the movie. That song is the Transformers the movie song, and Travis Knight actually put it in the Bumblebee movie. How cool is that, right? But I'm not going to talk about a Transformers cartoon series, because as I said it, I'm going to talk about it in another video. Calm down, guys. Actually, I'm the guy who should calm down right now. But whatever, I was never calm since the day I was born. Oh, there's Bon Jovi, Runaway. That song plays at the best timing ever that a song could be played, because that song plays at a time when the main character feels like she's an outsider, and that is when you want to listen to the music of Bon Jovi. She listens to Motorhead because that's also on her shirt, and I'm pretty sure she listens to the stuff that's on her shirt. But I don't know. So a lot of people wear like Pink Floyd shirts, but they don't even listen to Pink Floyd, so it's hard to tell. But I'm pretty sure that Charlie listens to Motorhead, and I'm pretty sure she likes Lemmy, I think. Also, it's nice to see that they chose the Bon Jovi track Runaway from Bon Jovi's debut titled album, and not from Slippery When Wet. They chose the very underrated but also really great Bon Jovi debut album. I'm like on drugs in this video, I have no idea why. Then there's also Steve Winwood in this movie. Steve Winwood really got a rising popularity these recent years, because Kygo remixed his song Higher Love. That's why he's like really famous right now. And yeah, Higher Love is the song that's in this movie. Of course, it's like his most famous song. And I guess Steve Winwood is okay. I don't really have anything against this guy, although I like his work in Traffic more, and after he left the band and he pursued some solo work, I thought I thought was definitely better than stuff like Duran Duran, but it's still not really the standard of Traffic, I guess. It's still just pop music. But I mean, Higher Love is just a really popular song, so it makes sense that Higher Love is in there, and I'm not really want to judge the song because it doesn't really detract to the movie as well. Then there's also what's the name of that song again? I just can't remember the song at this moment. Damn, I just can't. I finally recall that song, Unchained Melody. For some reason I've forgotten that. I just watched the movie yesterday, by the way, so I shouldn't have forgotten that. But there's just so much going on in my brain like all the time. And they choose the like Sam Cooke version, which is the original version. But that song is more famously covered by the Righteous Brothers for the movie Ghost. So I'm glad they did not choose the Righteous Brothers version, because everybody, when they listen to that song, you're just going to think of Ghost. So this is going to be the last video I'm going to release in, I think, a few months, because I'm going to prepare for a very big exam, and I'm going total Rambo mode for this exam, and I'm not going to be able to like record any silly videos.